All right, Pro Dumpster Diver back at it again. I am absolutely excited for those of you who are actually watching right now. The video you're seeing here, this is from the sim chips right now. So we did SD cards a while ago and I filtered everything out. I put it under a heater here and I actually have it here right now. And so it's all dried and ready to go. So what I'm doing is I'm scraping off this gold that's on the side there. I'm moving some of that up and I'm scraping the gold that's on here. Even though some of this green is a bit of acid there, I am going to put it in here right now. I want all of this to go inside of the Ziploc bag. So we haven't quite weighed it at all, actually. I will get the scale and weigh this here, since I know there's still a lot of gold on the sides that are already here. I'm trying to clean up as much as I can right now because the color of this isn't like the other one at all. Here we go. Here we go. Now, what this little thing is, this is not a tool at all. This is actually just a gold finger that's on PCB board that I'm actually just using to clean this off with right now and just clean off a bit of the sides there. And then we'll put that in a Ziploc bag, okay? So let's do the official weight count. I have my scale here. Is the scale on? Okay. The scale is on. It is 0 grams. We're going to weigh it. The container itself is 214 grams right now. Okay, so we got a bit of an issue there. Let me zero it out. This container, I believe, is 214. And it's coming up as 212. Okay, that's not good. That's not good. So let me move the... sorry about that. 0. It says 8 grams. Okay, so let's zero this out. And I realize that it is also not on an exact solid surface. It's actually on the stuffing here. I probably should put it on something else. 226, 227. Okay, so it was the plastic. 227 grams. Okay. So we got 227 grams. And the container is 214 right now. So let me get out my trusty calculator because I went to a public school. All right, so 227 subtract 214, I get 13 grams right now. Now, this is not 24 karat. If you look in here, you can actually see a lot of the gold is actually in here right now. And a lot of this other stuff is actually a bit of the gold that does have to get refined there right now. So that's what this container actually is. So if I do put all of this in a Ziploc, it should come up to 13 grams or even 12 if I can get the rest of this stuff off. I probably should be using a brush, to be honest, and to get all of that there, okay? So I'm going to do this in front of you. For those of you who are here, I do have my little Ziploc bag, and I always have to double check to make sure I have the right size. I don't want it to have too much gold in it, and at the same time too little, because I do have smaller Ziploc bags for that right now. I will actually show you. I have these miniature ones. They're about half the size of that right now. Actually, let me take one out and show you. Okay. All right, so they're about this size right here, okay? They're about I believe half the size, actually. Let me double check there. Yeah, about half the size of that, which is good. So that would be for a smaller amount of gold, okay? So we're going to take the gold in here, and we're going to put it in here as best as we can without actually putting any of the gold out or trying our best to spill it in any way, shape, or form. And I'm using Ziploc bags because it's plastic, it's see-through, and it can go through the x-ray machines. Okay. All right, I was making sure always when you take a Ziploc bag and it's new, make sure there's no holes in it. Okay, it's very important. All right. So this is from the SD cards that we've actually had. And if we look in this a little bit, you can actually see a little bit of green, a little bit of plastic there. So we're going to take this up right now. Now, this is not 24 karat. This might actually be a little bit lighter. Okay. It might actually only come up to be about 8 karat, 13 grams. Okay. We have not refined this at all, but we will double check that. So I got to get a piece here, trying to get a piece on this right now. I know it's not a spoon. I probably should be using a spoon for this. And I have to carefully put that in. Come on. Careful. There we go. All right. And all of that is gold in there. You know, I could use a funnel, actually. I thought I had a funnel here. Also realized I could actually make a funnel out of paper, which will also be pretty good. Yeah, I thought I had a funnel, but I guess I actually don't. So I will just use... Do I have a funnel? Damn. Some of the things that you think about to make your life a lot easier. I could actually, if I use the funnel, I have to crunch this up into smaller pieces and put it in there, but I'd also have to clear out the funnel as well. So very careful putting that in there. And I'm doing this in front of you guys to actually show you that this is how it is. So what we did is that we put our SD cards, beautiful, nice piece. We can clearly see the gold shining on that one. We took our SD cards. We put the SD cards inside of the muriatic acid and hydrogen peroxide. We let it sit. Every week I came back and I stirred it around. I did another video about filtering the SD cards out through the acid and then filtering them again through water. We got a lot more gold out that way. I took the little glass, I put it all inside of a container. So once we filter them out inside of the coffee filters, we sprayed all the coffee filters with water down into one container after we got the acid. And then we put the acid back and used that for a different project. And then when we got the SD cards, we mixed it in with water and we cycled it in twice. Okay, so we ran it through filters twice. Okay, that was the whole point. We ran the SD cards through a strainer and then put them through filters, so none of that would actually end up popping them. And then once we put that into one container, we let it strain out again into one filter, one strainer. Once that was actually effectively done, we ended up putting it into this container and leaving it overnight on a heater to heat up, and it has heated up. And it's turned into this nice little solid here right now, which we can actually use. They can definitely take a piece of this and actually put it on an x-ray machine. This might actually end up coming up to be an actual low carat for me, which is fine. This may actually end up being a 10 karat, which is okay. You know, so one thing is I need to create some space inside of the Ziploc bag. So I need to push it down with this, but I need to be careful not to pop the Ziploc bag as the gold is actually in here. So I have to be very careful with this, because if I pop that bag, I have to get all of this gold out at the time right now. Okay. So what we're going to do, we need to be very careful with this right now. I need to get the rest of this gold in there. And if I use a different tool, I need to make sure the tool I use doesn't also have gold on it. So what I'm actually going to do is, I actually have some tweezers here. And tweezers may actually work. Come on. There we go. Perfect. All right. So from now on, I guess I'll be using tweezers. All right. So we have some tweezers there. Perfect. So we're going to be using tweezers. Now I have to be careful because these tweezers can actually pop this Ziploc bag right here. I don't want to go ahead and actually do that. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Now, some of you are actually saying if I had a funnel, it would be a lot easier. See, now it's getting to the light stuff, like the crumbs of it all. Okay. And so what do we do with that? I could actually end up putting that on a little card and then putting it in there just like that. But before I do that, I need to push this gold down again. Okay. So I need to be very, very careful about this, not to puncture it right now. So I'm going to push this gold down a little bit more because I still have more gold to go in there. I'm going to push this down to the best that I can. Okay. I'm going to clear some space at the top because we have this other gold to go in, which is pretty good right now. And I still have to get this gold off of the edge of this finger, which I could actually use this little thing for. Okay, there we go. All right. All right, and then I have to get the gold off of this here. All right, so again, you're gonna try to minimize the amount of tools you're using because you're gonna end up getting gold everywhere, and you don't want to leave that. And you might think, well, you know, it's just a half a gram of gold, but half a gram of gold is still, again, a lot of gold. All right, so I'm gonna tip this over. I'm gonna tip this down. Okay, and all of this gold that's here, I'm gonna end up just taking my little tool and I'm gonna scrape that as best as I can. I don't want to leave any gold back to chance. And then I'm going to rotate it over. Okay. And I could use a brush or anything to get that out. So this gold, I need it to go in the Ziploc right now. Okay. So what are we going to do? I want to be able to take this gold and put it onto this card. How are we going to do that? Okay. Actually, I'm going to be smart. I'm actually going to put it on this little thing here. So I'm going to take this here and I'm going to bend it. I'm just going to fold it in half, just like that. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to put my gold in there just like this. Okay. All right. So we have our gold here. We don't have much gold in there right now, but then I have to put this in here. I'm going to put it over this just in case it's too much. It goes into this container here. Okay. Come on. Come on. Okay, and I can just run my finger down there. Okay, all right, so we got most of our gold here. All right, this is most of it, and I'm just going to hit it like that. All right, we still have some space to put a little bit of these in here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put that up there. Please don't tip over. Okay. And then I'm just going to take some of this here. Okay. And then some people actually, what they do is they actually get a wet paper towel or they get a wet funnel and just lightly go over all of it. You can do that. You don't have to, but it's up to you. Okay. But I do want to make sure I get all of the gold that I can in here. You see how I'm scraping the bottom of it and it's coming off? Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to get all of that off there as best as I can. You got a lot of gold on the side. Okay. And these are the crumbs that they will actually test when I do the X-ray or so right now. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get my tweezer and I'm going to take these little bits of golden pieces off. Okay. All right. All right, perfect. Get off of it, get off of it. Okay. And now that I have that, I'm just going to put all of it there as best as I can. And I'm doing this and actually showing you guys how you safely get all of the gold you can into a Ziploc bag, because this glass is clear now, but it still has a little bit of gold in it right now that's just trying to trail. And again, it's just a small amount, but it's fine. Okay. And now that I have this here, I'm going to put this in the Ziploc bag that I have. Okay. Come on, come on. Come on. Don't be afraid. I'm just going to burn you at 3,000 degrees Celsius. All right, there we go. Perfect. All right, so I shouldn't do that. I should not be doing that. Okay, let me be very careful here just to remove that gold so the Ziploc can close. All right. All right, and that's it. Okay, now we are going to weigh this again because I do want to get the weight of it. And we are going to close this and Ziploc this here. We're going to get as much air out of it as we can. Boom. Perfect. And that's it. And that's sealed. Now, I can put this into another little Ziploc bag just to keep it safe and secure, just in case this pops. I can do that. Now, another thing we need to do is actually label this, okay? So we need to get a little label and write down what this came from. This came from 8 pounds of SD cards, okay? Now, this is what you would actually call dirty gold. If you look in there, you can see a little bit of the green. That is from the plastic on top of the PCB that we have there. We have bits of gold in here right now, and you have no PCB parts there. This is actually just the dried gold here. All right, now, I am going to weigh this again as the smart thing to do. Okay, so we are going to weigh this one more time because it should be about 13 grams or a little less, a little bit more. We don't know, so we're going to see. This should actually be done on an extremely flat surface, so we're going to see at 0 grams here. We have, oh, wow, 13, yep, about 13 grams. We got that. And the good part is not even actually checking the plastic itself. So that was the actual 13 grams of gold in there right now. Absolutely beautiful. Because of the plastic, you can actually make it 12. So this is very, very nice. So let's look at it again. 13 grams. Let's take it off. Let's let that 0 out. Let's do it again. 13 grams. All right, not bad. 13 grams of gold. We don't know what carat it is, but what we can do is figure out how much something like this is worth if it was anything in pennyweights. So what we're actually going to end up doing right now is looking up what carat gold this is. And I'm going to take, and we're going to do the writing on this right now. That's right. We're going to look at this. We have 13 grams of gold. Okay. This is 13 grams of gold. Okay. And this is in total. We're going to figure out what 8K would be right now. So we're going to look at 8K gold price. All right, we're going to look at 8K gold price right now. We're going to type in per gram. And so 8 gold price per gram. Okay, now it's coming up right now. Purity, I'm going to put this here. Okay, so you guys can see it. Price of 8K per gram is approximately 43 USD. So 13 grams of gold, and this is 8K, would be 43 USD. 8K. Now let's look at 12K price per gram right now. Okay, it's giving us 12K is 66. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to be fair. We are going to do 10K here because this is a bit dark right now. Okay, and this is not looking at the gold itself. It had to be purified. We're going to look at what it currently is. What is the price of 12K gold here? Sorry, 10K gold here. So 10K is going to be 52, about 52 there. Okay, all right. So we have what that is. Now let's do some calculations right now. Okay, 13 grams times 43 is 559. So 8K would be $559. Okay, let's look at 10K. 10K is 52. So we're going to do 52 times 13, which is going to be $676, which is not bad. And then we're going to look at 12K. 12K is 66. So 66 times 13 is going to be $858. Now, this is actually pretty good because remember, we had pounds and pounds of SD chips in there. Now, again, I'm doing the lowest because this here, as you can actually see, is it's a brown gold right now. It's not a 24 karat right now. It's a very light gold, okay? And as we saw, we're using 8K, 10K, and 12K. I could do 14K if you want. Let's just do 14K for shits and giggles right now. All right, let's do 14K. 14K price today is $76.52 per gram. So let's do 76 times 13 is $9.98. Damn, close to 1,000. Okay, now that's 14K is $9.88. All right, very close to 1,000. Okay, so that's what this is. Now, let's say that this actually is not 8K. Let's say it's actually lower, which is a possibility. Okay, because again, this is an actual brown gold. Let's go ahead and actually say this is 6K gold, which is very, very low. It's telling me the price right now is 54. That's not really doing that right now. Okay. I'm going to go to gold prices there. I'm going to find 6K gold, 25 pure, what 1 gram is. It's saying 32.79. Damn. So 32 times 13 is 416. So 6K is 416. So again, it gets lower right now. Now what's going to happen is when I take this, they're going to say, hey, I'm gonna have to get a little bit of profit. So they're going to have to make some money off of it. So expect to lose about 1/3 of whatever this is. So if you're going to give it to them at, let's say it's 8K, they might say, hey, I want 150 out of that, or the 160. So you might be left with $400. But for me, that might be fine. So again, I'm doing the calculations to show you what it is at 13 grams of gold. Now it might come up to 12 grams of gold, and all of this might actually go down a bit, but that's what we're looking at right now. But again, I'm not going to argue. This is the completion of it. Now, the funny part is you'll feel it's a bit puffy. Let all of the air out you can without letting the gold out itself, but don't poke a hole in it because you don't want to put pressure on it and that comes out. Okay? And that's what we got. All right, guys, we did it. And a lot of you are saying, where's the other project? I'll show you. The other project is actually right here. This is a lot brighter. You see this? This is the actual cell phone gold, and I have it open with a tissue here just to let the heat, let some of that water go out and evaporate. But yeah, this is like 31 grams. This gold is actually a lot brighter than this. And it's beautiful. It's a lot better right now, to be honest. And so to have both of these side by side, you can definitely see the color difference, okay? But I'm happy to have both of them. All right, guys, Pro Dumpster Diver out.